reading of Taken Abroad by Lauren Armstrong. We're going to make this kind of experience. I can't find the book available for purchase, so I'm going to be reading it from the Temple TCAP. That way, you still get the experience from this this very peculiar book. So, let's begin. Overview. Preparing for his life after high school, Aaron enlisted in the army, anxious to serve his country and fight for what he believed in. After losing his closest friend to a sniper, Aaron lost it while in the field and spent 3 months in a psychiatric ward until being shipped home. Once home, he falls in love with Brooke, a girl that he met on a blind date. Not long after getting engaged, he begins having nightmares of his time in the Iraqi war and puts it off as nothing serious. When the nightmares become more intense, Brooke talks to Aaron about seeing a psychiatrist, and because of the deep love that Aaron has for his family, he agrees. Unfortunately, the intense sessions with the psychiatrist doesn't help, and nightmares begin to affect Aaron further. Aaron can no longer fight the right and wrong of the murders he is about to commit. In the end, justice is served with a heartbreaking death that Aaron did not plan on. Dedication. This book is dedicated to my brother Michael, who died at birth. My mother has been through more hell than any one person should have to go through in a lifetime, and still manages to be as sweet as she possibly can be, and still be there for her children and grandchildren to help out. This book is also dedicated to all the men and women in our military that have been deployed in war as a whole person and came back lost within themselves. God bless each and every one of you. May you find your way back to yourself again. Donation. 50% of all net profits made from the sale of this book will be donated to the Wounded Warrior Project. The author of this book hopes to encourage others to donate to this cause, to give back to the United States soldiers what they have given to their country. Special thanks, very special thanks to everyone who helped edit this, specifically Linda A., Sharon L., Sharon C., and Charlene V. Chapter 1. Aaron left his house in Bloomington, Indiana, and drove to school in a 1996 white Ford Taurus his mom brought home as an early graduation present. It's a cold December morning, and the roads are slippery from the fresh layer of snow that fallen the night before. He reached over and pressed the power button on his Pioneer AM FM radio CD player that he had just installed professionally at the local garage. He flipped through the channels until he found a local country station so that he could hear the weather report for the day before arriving at school. He smiled at a newscaster's report that said it would be sunny and clear all day. Aaron knew the Army recruiter scheduled B at the school that day and didn't want the weather to force him to reschedule. Ever since the terrorist attack on 9/11, Aaron knew that he wanted to do it after his graduation. His heart was set on going to Iraq and fighting for the freedom of the United States and the freedom of the Iraqi citizens. Pulling into the school parking lot, Aaron read through a couple of rows of cars and trucks that belonged to other students until he finally found a parking space. Gathering up his backpack, he got out of the car and made his way to the school in his homeroom, his mind on meeting with the Army recruiter. The bell rang at 11 o'clock. Aaron had 45 minutes to eat lunch and talk to the Army recruiter. He gathered his books off his desk and walked to his locker. His friend Derek was waiting for him when he got there. "Hey, Aaron," he said as Derek reached his locker. "Hey, Derek, what's up?" Aaron replied. "Not much. I just thought, well, not much. Just thought I'd see if you wanted to go ride to the store with me for lunch." "I can't today. The Army recruiter's here, and I'm going to talk to him right after I'm done eating. Sorry, maybe tomorrow, though." "All right," Derek said as he slapped Aaron on the back. "I'll talk to you later, then." Aaron closed his locker and headed to the cafeteria. He got in line with his tray and grabbed a slice of pizza, 2 cookies, and a can of Pepsi. He sat down at the first table with an empty chair, all the while paying close attention to the clock on the wall next to the door. It read 11:10 already. He spent the next 5 minutes gobbling down his food and drink and running some questions through his mind that he wanted to ask the recruiter what rank he'd just be starting out. What would his pay be? Would he be able to do some type of mechanics work? Would he be able to go to Iraq and fight? How long would it be before he could leave for basic training? He finished up eating, brought his tray to the counter, and walked to the study hall where the recruiters are setting up and talking to other students that are interested in military careers. Their table set up for the Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines, and Coast Guard. Aaron made his way through the line of students at the table set up for the Army recruiters and waited in line with four students in front of him. There are only two Army recruiters, so that he he knew was going to have much time to talk to the recruiter. He waited patiently as the slowly disappeared. A was next to the recruiter. When the next student stood up to shake the recruiter's hand and leave, Aaron read the nameplate on the table as he walked towards the recruiter. Sergeant Watkins is what it read in big gold letters in the black background. The recruiter held his hand out to greet Aaron as he approached. Aaron shook the man's hand in envy as he eyed the sergeant's uniform. He spent the next 15 minutes talking to Sergeant Watkins and getting all the information he could before accepting the recruiter's business card and making an appointment to meet with him at his office and following the week to enlist. Aaron left the recruiter's table with a smile on his face and a feel of more pride in his heart for his country than when he had first sat down talking to the recruiter. Amazing, he thought, what 15 minutes of talking about my future in the military could do to my pride. Aaron spent the next week looking at information on the internet about the career fields, medical and dental benefits, and the GI Bill. He talked things over with his mother about signing up for the Army so that she wouldn't be prepared. She took the news hard, but she knew that how much this is what he wanted to do. She had, she had raised him to do what he believed was right, even if it meant sacrifice. She couldn't tell me she didn't want him to go because it would be contradicting what she taught him. Tuesday morning, Aaron woke up, showered, and got dressed and got himself to school. He spent the day looking anxiously at the clock. This is the day he had been waiting a week for. His appointment with Sergeant Watkins was at 3:30. When the last bell rang for the day, Aaron hurried to his locker to retrieve his jacket, and then he headed to the Army recruiting office, pulled into the parking lot, and looked at the clock on the car stereo. 3:15. I'm 15 minutes early, he said to himself. I'll go and wait in the lobby. I'm sure he won't mind if I'm a little early. Stepping out of the car, he looked up just in time to see the Army Humvee drive by. He stared at the big vehicle and all. Hopefully soon I'll be working on vehicles like that one, he muttered in the cold air. He turned back around after the vehicle was out of sight, locked his car, and closed it hard. The weather today was 22 degrees, and the wind had a sharp bite to it. Aaron placed his hands in his jacket pockets to protect them from the cold, tilted his head down against the wind, and began walking across the snow-packed parking lot to the recruiting office entrance. He walked through the door and entered to the left at the secretary at the desk. Her name tag read Helen, and small black letters with a brass-colored background was pinned to her suit jacket just above her left breast. She's an older woman, probably in her late 40s or early 50s, a little on the heavy side of brown curly hair that came down to her shoulders, and wore wide-rimmed glasses with a gold chain that dangled from the sides of her glasses and wrapped around the back of her neck. She had a mother's air about her and greeted him with a warm, welcoming smile. May I help you? She asked. Hi, I have an appointment with Sergeant Watkins at 3:30, he replied. And what is your name? He watched as she opened a large black book that read appointment book on the cover and he answered, Aaron Johnson. She licked her thumb and flipped through the pages to the correct day and looked at 3:30. There you are right there, she said, and she looked up and smiled at him. Have a seat in one of those chairs right there, and I'll let Sergeant Watkins know that you're here. Aaron turned around after thinking Helen and found a seat next to him. Some Army brochures. He picked one up and began looking at it while Helen left. Sergeant Watkins, no, that is third appointment was there. Mr. Johnson. Aaron looked up in surprise. He hadn't heard Sergeant Watkins approach him because he had been engrossed in the pamphlet that he's still holding in his hand. He folded the pamphlet back up, set it back in place, and stood to shake Sergeant Watkins' hand. How are you doing today? Sergeant Watkins asked him. Fine, sir, Aaron replied. How are you? I'm doing great. Thank you. I see you're ready to sign up today, huh? Yes, I am, Aaron replied. Well, follow me and we'll begin all the paperwork. Aaron did as the Sergeant Watkins directed and fell in behind him. As he entered the office, he looked around to see all the certificates on the walls. The envy Aaron held for Sergeant began to grow, a minor case of idolism. He sat down in a chair in front of Sergeant Watkins' big desk, and he watched the sergeant put together a new folder with Aaron's name on it. By 5:30, Sergeant Watkins had all of Aaron's enlistment forms filled out and set him for an appointment for a physical. Aaron left the recruiter's office, pleased with what Sergeant Watkins had done for him. In 1 month, he'd be on his way to getting his physical and being sworn into the United States Army. A smile spread across his face as he opened the car door and climbed inside. In just a few short months, he'd be on his way to basic training. After talking more with his mother that night, Aaron went to sleep, dreaming of his future in the United States military. All right, that was chapter one and the overview so far. Let's, this is my fifth copy, so I was I wasn't able to purchase one. Tiamat. What is this? Army crew stations don't have large breasted older military's bronze. Man, I was about to go join. I was about to go join the army. I was looking for that like mm, big titty milf. That's like the one. That's like the one like description in this book that actually sounded good to me too. Um, you know what? We'll do chapter two, I guess, too, just because it's so short. Um, might try Air and Navy. They might have them. I'm too old for that shit. I'm too old for it. All right. Well, we're gonna do chapter two as well. You know, hopefully, well, I have to hear about the recruiters in 15 minutes every time. Chapter 2. Aaron suddenly found himself at Fort Jackson, South Carolina. He looked around at the many other young men and women that, like himself, wanted to fight for their country. From the moment he got off the plane, he has to follow every order given to him. He is surprised to see they had not waited until the following day to start demanding orders. He quickly realized that his life was no longer his own. He had rules they had to follow that were made by other people. It's all, it's all worth it, he spoke softly to himself. This is my dream. It's what I wanted for a long time, even if I don't like being told what to do. After a couple of weeks of day in and day out routine, things became much easier for him. Even taking orders and following them had become a thoughtless action. It seemed like time had flown by while finally his 9 weeks of basic training had ended and he's already in his fifth week of technical training school. I can't believe this time has gone by so quickly, Aaron said to his mother, who's on the other end of the phone. Only another 6 weeks of tech school. Then I could graduate and come home for 2 weeks. I'll be happy to see you again. I missed you. He heard his mother begin to cry as she said those last three words. Mom, I know this is hard, but I have to tell you that after I come home for 2 weeks, I leave to go to Fort Dix, New Jersey for 2.5 months of training to go to Iraq. He waited a few long seconds for his mother to absorb the news. Are you all right, Mom? He asked. I'm fine, son. I had a feeling that you're going over there to the beginning, so I've been preparing myself for it. This is what I want to do, Mom, and it makes me happy, said her his mother. I know, I want you to know that I'm very proud of you. The words she said to him sank deep and brought a smile to his face. I have to go now, Mom. I'll see you in 6 weeks. I love you. I love you too, son. Goodbye. Aaron hung up the phone and stood motionless as he thought about the words his mother had said to him as they penetrated deep. I'm proud of you. Her voice, saying those words, echoed in his head. He smiled at the phone and then turned and walked away. Fort Dix, New Jersey was an exciting place for Aaron as he learned the many ins and outs of what would take place in Iraq. He could only partially prepare for the real thing, and he realized this from the beginning. He had a good visit when he went home for 2 weeks, but he knew he made the right decision by joining the army when when he had seen some of his friends still hanging around home and working at dead end jobs, going nowhere with their lives. It made him feel good knowing that he's doing what was important to so many lives. Now that he had to finish his training at Fort Dix so he could move on to Kuwait and then Iraq, where he'd be fighting for what he believes in. That was chapter 2. So we're 2 chapters in. Tech school. Yeah, also not everything. Personal experience speaking for Dixon pretty much the opposite of exciting. uh, sorry, I'm breaking character here, but all these comments are great. Don't you like how Aaron is just like, yeah, my friends are a bunch of losers. You know, they're working jobs and stuff. I'm so great because I joined the military, and for some reason they keep babying me. Um, I'm gonna end this video, and I might start another live for the next chapter. So stay tuned.